Welcome back. President Trump proved his critics wrong once again this week by getting Mexico to agree to step up its efforts to reduce illegal immigration. So what does the deal mean for border agents? Well, joining us, President of the National Border Patrol Council, Brandon Judd, who has been one of the most vocal speaking out on this. Brandon joins me now. Thank you for being here. Brandon, you have an op-ed right now on foxnews.com talking about the Mexican deal. What do you make of it?
Okay, first off is you have to look at what the critics are saying. They're saying that this deal was struck a month ago or 2 months ago, but the fact remains Mexico did nothing. It wasn't in writing. Nothing was happening. So President Trump had to threaten tariffs to force Mexico to actually step up and publicly agree to this deal. And now we can actually see Mexico doing its part to secure their southern border and allow us to send people back to Mexico pending their asylum claim. That's going to be a huge deal for Border Patrol agents to allow us to free up our resources to be out in the field to catch the drugs and the criminal aliens that are crossing the border. This is going to be a very good deal, and it's going to help us out greatly in securing the border.
It comes at a critical time because June is traditionally the busiest month for Border Patrol agents. We have new numbers today from ICE. More than 200,000 individuals claiming to be part of a family have been since released in the interior. Does that trouble you?
It does. If you look at what ICE can do to support us, if they do interior operations while the president is putting the requisite pressure on Mexico to close their borders, it sends that message across the world that we're not going to take people in. We're not just going to release you into our country. There are going to be consequences for breaking our laws. If the consequences are imposed, people will stop coming to the United States. And that's why this deal means so much in conjunction with ICE doing their part in interior enforcement.
So if Mexico cooperates in delivering on securing their southern border, on taking more asylum claims in Mexico rather than the U.S., and ICE is able to ramp up interior enforcement, do you believe we will see this year a reduction in these numbers that are unprecedented?
I do. I know that we'll see a reduction. But you said the right word, if Mexico follows through. And that's going to be the key point. Is Mexico going to follow through? And are the leaders at DHS going to actually allow ICE to do that interior enforcement? If those two things happen, we will see a reduction in illegal aliens crossing the border. We'll also see a reduction in the drugs that are coming across the border between the ports of entry. Now, those drugs are going to continue to come at the ports of entry, but between the ports of entry, we will absolutely see a reduction.
No doubt there will be some Democrat voices that will oppose ICE's ramping up of an interior enforcement. What do you say?
It's frustrating and it's upsetting to me because the interior enforcement that we're talking about going after people that have already been ordered deported. A judge already heard their case. A judge determined that they did not have a right to be here in the United States and ordered them deported. These individuals didn't show up to their court appearances, and so now all ICE is doing is going and finding those individuals and lawfully removing them just like a judge ordered. Why would the Democrats be opposed to that? That's the rule of law, and that's what the law says we're supposed to do.
Democrats have stayed quiet, allowed the president to struggle with these numbers, and refused to act in Congress specifically about Flores Act, which is what ICE is now reporting these numbers was the problem. But the president isn't one to sit around and wait to see if, as you say, Mexico does their end of the bargain. What do you advise the president be doing right now? What does he need to do? Because he's led on this so far, Brandon, but what's the next step?
Right, he's doing the right thing. But what the public needs to understand is the president did not threaten these tariffs before going to Congress. He asked the Democrats to help him out. He asked Mexico to help them out. This was not his first choice. It wasn't his second choice. But he was forced to threaten these tariffs because the Democrats refused to help him. They didn't want to give him a win going into 2020. They wanted to keep this issue on the table, so the president was forced to take unilateral action. He did, and it's going to work.
I spoke with Mark Morgan, the acting ICE director, and I asked him about the point we get to where, if these numbers keep increasing, they have to release single adult males. He believes that is a serious threat to our border.
We're right at that point. If you look at how long we're holding these people in our facilities, Our Border Patrol facilities are only meant to hold people for a maximum of 72 hours. We're holding individuals up to 30 days. We just can't continue doing that. And if our resources continue to be stretched, we're going to have to start letting single males go. If that happens, you're going to see a completely and totally uncontrolled border, more than what it is right now.
We're almost out of time, but I want to ask you, because I have spent so much time with your agents out there, the men and women that are brave on the front lines. How are they doing? How is morale doing? And what does news like this Mexico deal do to support their morale?
It increases morale. It helps them know that they have people in Washington, D.C. that have their back, that are behind them. When you see a deal get passed where the Office of Field Operations is getting money, but Border Patrol doesn't, that drops morale. But then when you see the president step in and try to control the border, that increases the morale.
You can go to foxnews.com and read Brandon Judge's op-ed. I suggest you do it. Brandon, thanks for being here, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate it.